Revealed, inspiring call to dad transforms black teen's life after judge's incredible verdict. Malik sat in the courtroom, every heartbeat echoing like a war drum against the tense silence. He couldn't wrap his head around the gravity of it all. His innocence was lost in a cruel world where skin color judged him before he'd spoken a word. The whispers and sidelong glances from neighbors pooled like storm clouds around him. Could they even fathom who he truly was? A kid from a working-class neighborhood in Atlanta, he dared to dream beyond the poverty that surrounded him. But now, his future dangled on the precipice of a verdict. The judge thumped his gavel, raising the stakes even higher. He remembered his mother, overworked and weary, just trying to keep a roof over their heads. As he stared into the cold, unforgiving walls of the courtroom, he thought of their struggles. Every trigger of a memory surged through him, tightness in his chest, tears pricking his eyes. Malik wanted nothing more than to show his mom the bright future she always hoped for. It cut deeper. It wasn't just his fate at stake, but the message he would send to every kid like him feeling crushed by life. A glimmer of salvation arrived when Mr. Thompson, the retired veteran and a pillar of the community, rose to speak. His deep voice quaked with passion, like thunder rolling through the silence. "This boy," he said, his eyes blazing, "is a product of his environment, but he is not defined by it." Malik felt the warmth of his words, as if he were pouring light into the dark recesses of the courtroom. Mr. Thompson argued for his innocence with an intensity that shocked everyone. But the air still felt thick with doubts, with biases and judgments whispering beneath the surface. Before long, family secrets spilled from the shadows. Malik's heart clenched tighter as the truth about his estranged father emerged. Painful memories of abandonment surged, each one poking at the scars his father had left behind. Why couldn't he have been there to guide him? Forgiveness felt miles away, and loyalty teetered on uneven ground. Just as doubt threatened to consume him, a call came through. His father, the voice he had longed for, crackled through the receiver. Each word they exchanged felt like a bridge being built through years of silence. Adrenaline surged through him. Malik clung to the hope that he could be better than the man who walked away, but when the moment of truth arrived, the judge delivered a verdict that crushed him like a collapsing building. Disappointment roared through his veins. He felt lost, drowning under a tide of society's prejudice. It wasn't just his dreams at stake anymore, it was all the boys in his neighborhood. Could he ever rise above? In that moment of despair and weighty silence, Malik stood before the judge. He took a deep breath, heart pounding in his chest. He poured his soul out to the courtroom. "This isn't just about me. It's about every kid who feels broken, who feels forgotten." His voice cracked, but the passion ignited in the room. He became not just a boy on trial but a beacon of hope for those trapped by circumstance, a rallying cry for change. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The air thickened with anticipation. He had put everything on the line. The faces around him shifted, hope mingled with uncertainty. Could one voice really challenge the weight of a biased judgment? As he stood there, courage swelling in his heart, the potential for something greater than himself glimmered in the eyes of those listening. Malik's journey had just begun, bold and bright. Could he escape, find justice, and reshape his future, or would he forever be tangled in the web of a world that often forgot him? The hope lingered, keeping the question alive in the hearts of everyone who believed in him. The courtroom buzzed with hushed conversations, a whirlwind of emotions swirling around Malik. The judge, imposing and quiet, shuffled papers, glancing up occasionally as if the answer he sought lay within the chaos of the room. Malik's heart raced faster with each passing moment, the verdict still fresh in his mind, bitter and sharp. Yet as he walked out of that building, a strange sense of resolve began to wash over him. The weight of disappointment felt heavy, sure, but it no longer threatened to crush him entirely. He had listened. He had fought. And he was not done fighting. The streets of Atlanta looked different as he stepped outside, bathed in golden light. Cars weaved like ribbons among pedestrians. He saw children laughing, playing basketball, the sounds of a normal day echoing around him. Yet, a deep sense of responsibility knit itself into the fabric of his thoughts. If a broken system could lead to a false verdict, how many other kids were suffering? How many others felt trapped and alone? Malik felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see his mother's gentle face, streaked with concern yet shining with pride. "You did good, Malik," she said, her voice wrapped in warmth. "You stood up for what's right." He nodded, though inside, turbulence swirled. "But Mom, what if it wasn't enough?" The question tumbled from his lips, soaked in doubt. Would his words reach anyone beyond these walls? Would they become a rallying cry, or just echoes in the void? His mother sighed, looking at the bustling street in front of them. "You may not see it now, but change doesn't come easy. Every voice counts, Malik. Yours it matters." With those words, Malik felt something shift. The fight wasn't over. This was merely the beginning. That he reached out and hugged her tightly, letting the moment solidify in his heart. Together, they had fought battles, faced challenges head-on. This was just another chapter in their story, one where the sun began to rise even while the shadows lingered, days turned into weeks. They shared dinners filled with laughter, finding solace in each other's company. But as he leaned deeper into his responsibilities, something began to grow in Malik, a desire to advocate not only for himself but for every boy still struggling in silence. The community around him responded. Malik began attending meetings at local centers, speaking out about the importance of representation, the need for understanding. He grabbed the attention of teachers, community leaders, even local news. Wherever he went, he carried the energy of that day in court, transforming pain into purpose. Each story he shared built connections with others. Their eyes sparkled with tears and shone with bravery. Together, they lifted one another, pooling their strength into a burgeoning collection of voices demanding change. It was during a community event, under a beautiful sunset splashed against the Atlanta skyline, that Malik felt the warmth of collective spirit unite him with diverse souls. As he prepared to speak, he heard the chatter of the crowd quieten, everyone leaning in closer. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his journey transform into strength. "This isn't just about me. This is about all of us fighting together against a system that often doesn't see us. We're here. We matter. And our dreams are worth fighting for." The applause that followed was thunderous, a symphony of hope blending into one voice, shaking the ground beneath him, igniting something profound amongst everyone present. He stepped down, heart racing, a realization dawning over him. This was more than just a fight for justice, it was a movement. Yet as he basked in the energy swirling around him, something tugged at his thoughts. A new text notification pinged on his phone. He glanced down, the screen lighting up with a name that made his heart skip. His father had messaged. "Hey Malik, can we talk? I want to make things right." The words hung in the air, a mix of emotions bubbling within him. Could this really be it? Would his father finally show up, willing to face the past? As Malik stared at the screen, his heart racing, he knew this was a moment that could change everything again. Would he take the leap? How would this conversation shape not only his life but the lives of everyone watching? Malik's hands trembled slightly as he stared at the message on his phone. He felt a cocktail of emotions bubbling inside him: excitement, fear, anger, and a flicker of hope. The past swirled around him like a heavy fog, memories of long nights waiting for a father who never came home, of missed birthdays and silent lunches at school. He flicked his eyes back to the vibrancy of the community around him. People were sharing stories, dreams on the horizon, laughter ringing like music in the air. But here he stood, caught between an old hurt and the chance at something new. Malik? His mother's voice cut through his thoughts, filled with concern. What's wrong? He turned his phone around, showing her the message. My dad wants to talk, he said, the words feeling jagged as they left his mouth. She searched his face, as if looking for the right answer nestled somewhere within his heart. What are you thinking? I don't know if I can do it, Mom, he admitted, the vulnerability surprising even himself. What if he doesn't mean it? What if it's just more lies? Silence loomed like a dark cloud, wrapping around them. You can't control what he says or does, she said gently, taking his hand in hers. But you can control your reaction. Asking questions can lead to understanding. Malik nodded, torn. He remembered his father's absence more than his presence. But wanting closure felt like a beacon on the horizon. Maybe I should just ask why now. Whatever you decide, follow your heart, she replied. Her eyes shone bright, filled with a confidence that always grounded him. Remember, it's about you taking charge of your own story. Taking a deep breath, he felt a flicker of courage intertwined with the uncertainty. Moments later, he found himself typing back to his father. Okay. When and where? As he hit send, that familiar rush of adrenaline surged through him. He could feel the shift unfolding, the possibility of change whispering secrets that felt tangible yet distant. Later that evening, they sat around the dinner table, a comforting ritual amidst the storm of emotions, his mother's cooking filling the air with love. Laughter echoed between them, but Malik's mind danced in circles. With every bite, he played out different scenarios, imagining what his father would say once they met. Would he apologize? Would he try to explain? And if he did, would Malik be able to accept it? The thought of confrontation, the anxiety of finally hearing what had been left unsaid, tightened around him. Soon, night fell and his phone buzzed with a new message. It was from his father again. How about tomorrow at 3 p.m.? Let's South meet at the park. His heart plummeted. The park. A place where they used to play, before it became just a memory. Swallowing hard, Malik responded with a simple, okay. The night stretched ahead of him like a dark tunnel, filled with uncertainty. Malik lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the stillness mocking his turmoil. The moment of truth loomed, and he wrestled with questions that mixed regret with anticipation. What if this conversation opened old wounds? What if it didn't bring closure? He was about to take a leap into the unknown, ready to face a man he barely knew. As he finally drifted off into an uneasy sleep, the anxiety clawing at his insides, one thought echoed in his mind. Can facing a past full of pain pave the way to a brighter future, not just for him, but for all those fighting for their own truth? Time would tell, and tomorrow held the key. The struggle ahead was daunting, but if he could find a way to forgive, would he only then be able to inspire others to do the same? Sunlight streamed through the curtains, casting a warm glow over Malik's room. The new day felt different, a mixture of hope and anxiety crackled in the air. As he sat up, he rubbed the sleep from his eyes, knowing what lay ahead. He twisted his phone in hand, staring at the time. He had just a few hours left to prepare for the meeting. His stomach churned. Breakfast seemed impossible, so he settled for a glass of water, pacing the small kitchen. Each tick of the clock echoed with a reminder of the moment approaching, and with it came memories he had hoped to bury. The laughter of children playing outside sent pangs of jealousy through him. They had fathers who picked them up from school, taught them how to ride bikes, shared secrets beneath the stars. What did he have? At 11, Malik decided to leave the house. Maybe the fresh air would calm the storm brewing inside him. He walked to the park, the path clear but the emotional weight heavy. Trees lined the way, their leaves whispering secrets he could never quite grasp. When he arrived, the park looked surprisingly inviting. Children played, and pairs of parents leaned against benches, chatting and laughing amongst themselves. It pained him to think about the joy he had missed out on, but a part of him also felt a glimmer of excitement. Today held the potential for change. He found a bench and sat, tapping his foot nervously. Where was he? Every passing minute felt like an eternity, and he wondered if his father would even show up. Would this meeting be another letdown? Questions swirled like autumn leaves in the wind. Malik pulled out his phone again, ready to text, but hesitated. Would asking him where he was sound desperate? Or was it simply standing up for himself? He decided it was worth the risk. He typed, "Are you coming?" The seconds felt like hours until a reply came through. "On my way. Just parked. Be there in 5. His heart raced. The rhythm was loud, drowning out the laughter from the children nearby. What would happen when they faced each other? With every tick of his heart, images of their past, of missed moments, and lost chances flooded his mind. He took deep breaths, trying to steady himself. Countless thoughts crashed together: anger, longing, and surprisingly, a shred of sympathy for a man he didn't really know. Maybe there were reasons for his absence. Maybe he had been fighting his own battles. Just then, he spotted a figure approaching, hesitant and unsure. Malik's breath caught in his throat. It was him, his father. The man who had left shadows in his life, hovering awkwardly as he drew closer. "Malik," he said softly, the weight of years and distance hanging in the air between them. "Dad." The word fell from Malik's lips, heavier than he expected. The moment stretched, tension wrapping around them like a tight grip. Would they break down the walls that had kept them apart? Would honesty pave the way to understanding? Malik's heart pounded as he prepared to dive into uncharted waters. "Why now?" he finally asked, the words slipping out before he could stop them. His father's face twisted with emotion, and Malik's stomach dropped at the look of regret and fear flashing across his dad's features. I need to explain," his father stammered, as if the truth could somehow break the silence that had kept them apart for so long. As the words began to flow, Malik realized this was only the beginning. The chance for answers, for clarity, and perhaps for healing had finally arrived. But as they both prepared to share their truths, the weight of an unspoken past loomed large. Would they both find forgiveness in the echoes of their shared pain? Malik steeled himself for a journey that could change everything. What if, by confronting the past, they could shape a new future together? The answer was just within reach, as his heart raced with a potent mix of hope and fear. Would this be the turning point they both needed? Malik's heart thudded in his chest as he took in the sight of his father. The man had aged, lines etched deep into his skin, a map of the regrets and burdens he must have carried. But those features were still so familiar, too. Malik had seen reflections of himself in his father's face, angular jaw, dark eyes that glimmered with a mix of uncertainty and longing. "Why now?" Malik's voice came out sharper than he intended, like a dart thrown towards a target. He wondered if his question was heavy with accusation or simply searching for answers. "Because I can't keep avoiding you," his father replied, a tremor betraying him as he spoke. "I know I have a lot to answer for, but it's never too late to try, right?" For a moment, silence enveloped them, thick and suffocating. Malik felt the weight of every year lost in that space. The laughter he yearned for as a child, the simple moments of fishing trip, teaching him to ride a bike drifted through his mind like ghosts. "What have you been doing all this time?" Malik pressed, needing details, wanting to understand the man behind the absence, the shadow. He wanted to unravel the mystery of the years, the what-ifs he'd often mulled over on long nights. I lost my way," his father admitted, voice cracking slightly. "Drugs, bad choices. I spent years trying to forgive myself. I thought giving you space would help, but it didn't. It only made it worse." Malik absorbed the words, letting each one sink in. Hearing his father acknowledge his failures was a bitter pill, but it also stirred the long-dormant embers of hope within him. Was it possible they could rebuild? And now? Malik felt the pressure of the moment push against him. "What's different?" "I'm clean now," his father replied, a hint of pride creeping into his tone. Been working hard to turn my life around. And I know I don't deserve it, but I'm hoping you can find it in your heart to give me a second chance. Malik stared at him. The rawness of the situation suffocated him, and he didn't know how to respond. Each word unraveling the tightly wound coil of anger he held inside. It's not just about you, Dad. It's about all the times you weren't there for me. Every single night I wished you were. His father flinched, the impact of Malik's words hanging heavily between them like a turbulent storm. But Malik also realized he was at a crossroads. This was bigger than himself, bigger than hurt and resentment built up over the years. I know, his father said softly, tears glistening in his eyes. And I'm not asking you to forget. Just maybe to consider. I want to make things right, even if it's just one step at a time. Malik looked away, searching for the right emotions in the faces of children nearby, how they played carelessly, the laughter spilling out without a care in the world. Did he have the strength to let this man back into his life? The father he barely knew, but who shared his blood. Can you? The words fell from his dad's lips, tinged with desperation. Malik's mind buzzed as he contemplated the enormity of the choice in front of him. Forgiveness is tricky, it dances between freedom and the weight of expectations. Could he grasp onto the possibility of healing without losing himself in the hurt? Just then, a fragile hope flickered inside him, a whisper maybe it was possible to find common ground. Then let us start slow, maybe we can figure this out together. Tension melted slightly from the air as they exchanged tentative smiles, yet fears loomed heavy. Would he be able to find trust again? But before Malik could voice any more thoughts, the distant sound of sirens howled through the park, pulling both their attention. The sudden chaos felt like a warning bell, an interruption veering them away from the moment of connection they started to build. What was that about? Malik asked, glancing anxiously toward the commotion. His father's expression shifted again, concern etching itself deeply into his features. I don't know, but it looks serious. We should check. As they moved cautiously toward the unfolding scene, Malik felt a deep stirring within him. Today had been tumultuous, but what if this was only the beginning? What lay ahead might just reshape everything he thought he knew, sending ripples through their world. With every step forward, he wondered, could each moment they'd been forced to confront build a foundation for rebirth? Malik felt an impending weight, a mix of fear and excitement. What were they about to uncover? As Malik and his father drew closer to the commotion, the sound of sirens crescendoing in the background seemed to amplify the weight of their shared moment. The park that had once felt like a refuge now pulsed with anxiety. People gathered in small clusters, their expressions a blend of curiosity and concern. What happened? Malik whispered, instinctively looking for answers in his father's face. His father squinted, scanning the scene. I think someone was hurt, maybe even in trouble, he said, his voice laced with worry. Malik felt a knot tighten in his stomach. The vulnerability of their rekindled connection made him acutely aware of how fragile everything felt. As they neared the group, Malik caught sight of a boy, perhaps a few years older than him, lying on the ground. Panic spread through the crowd like wildfire. Some whispered in hushed tones, others dialed their phones frantically. Time slowed around Malik, the frantic energy consuming him as he struggled to comprehend the sight. Is he okay? Malik glanced anxiously at his father, who had knelt next to the boy, checking for any signs of life, just as Malik had seen on TV when heroes rushed to save someone. I don't know. Just stay close, all right? His father said, his voice steady, yet strained with concern. Malik bit his lip, watching as several adults tried to provide comfort and encouragement while they waited for help to arrive. He felt a pull deep within him, a desire to jump in and help, but he was frozen, caught between fear and the unfamiliar sense of camaraderie that was beginning to emerge between him and his father. In that moment, Malik's heart felt heavy yet hopeful. A rush of thoughts swirled through him. What if they weren't just trying to heal their own wounds, but also be part of something bigger, helping others? He could see his father's hands shaking slightly, his brow furrowed in concentration, a new strength evident in how he engaged with the scene. "Malik, I need you to help me," his father suddenly said, breaking through Malik's reverie. "Can you get some water from that vendor over there?" Malik only hesitated for a moment before nodding. He took off, the urgency propelling him forward. His legs moved on their own as he navigated the crowd, and he grabbed a couple of cups filled to the brim with water. As he hurried back, his mind raced. Was this a way to bond working together in crisis? When he returned, his father was still there, holding the boy's hand as if trying to tether him back to this world. The boy opened his eyes briefly, confusion clouding his features. Malik felt a mix of relief and fear wash over him, and a part of him realized how terrifying yet exhilarating it felt to confront heart-wrenching reality. "Here," Malik handed one of the cups to his father, who poured a little into the boy's mouth, urging him to drink. "Just hold on," Malik's father said softly, his voice filled with a tenderness Malik hadn't heard before. "Help is coming." Something clicked in Malik's heart at that moment. Maybe this was what they had to do: move forward in small acts of courage, facing life together not as separate entities marked by pain, but as allies striving for healing. As sirens blared closer, Malik's chest tightened. Would they ever come to terms with their fragmented past if they couldn't even navigate this current chaos? Seconds felt like hours before paramedics arrived, and as the professionals took over, Malik felt a strange mix of relief and a newfound sense of purpose. His connection with his father had shifted. They might not have the answers for their history, but here, in the face of life's unpredictability, they had shared something real. "What now?" Malik asked as they stepped back, watching the scene unfold. His father turned to him with an earnest look. "Now, we keep moving forward. Together." Those words hung in the air like an unspoken promise, one that both men felt deeply, yet unsure how to navigate the road ahead. But before they could revisit their thoughts, Malik noticed a police officer walking in their direction, his expression serious. "Excuse me, have you two seen anything?" The officer called out, his voice suddenly commanding Malik's attention. Malik felt the storm inside him stir again. Would his father's past interfere with their present? And what was next for them as a team? Each moment felt charged with possibility, but worry lingered in the air like an uninvited guest, waiting for what came next. Malik's heart raced as he exchanged glances with his father, a silent understanding passing between them. He felt the weight of the moment, a mixture of uncertainty and a need to be brave. The officer stood before them, eyes sharp, clearly searching for answers. Yeah, we were right here," Malik's father spoke first, his voice firm but steady. "We saw the boy collapse. He looked hurt." The officer nodded, taking in their words, but his attention remained focused on the chaos around him. Malik could see the concern in his father's eyes, a flicker of fear mingled with determination. It struck Malik then this was the real world, messy and full of unresolved questions. "Can you tell me anything about how it happened?" the officer asked, shifting slightly, pen posed over his notepad. Malik felt an urge to speak up, to add more detail, but his throat felt tight. He could see how hard his father was trying to take control of the situation, and it made Malik proud. "Dad," he started hesitantly, what if we help him?" "What do you mean?" his father asked, concern flashing in his expression. Malik pointed toward the other bystanders. "Look at them. They're just standing around. We know he needs help." "We could, Malik, we're not doctors," his father interrupted gently, but Malik could see a glimmer of recognition in his father's eyes. It was the same spark Malik felt inside himself, that realization that they didn't have to stand aside. "Maybe not," Malik pressed, "but we can ask other people to help, to reach out. Together." The fire in his chest burned brighter. "Look, buddy," the officer broke in, his tone more relaxed now. "We just need to focus on gathering information for the paramedics. Help is already on the way. They're trained for this." "I know," Malik replied, his voice rising slightly. But what if we both ask people to see if they need help too? Maybe someone else saw something. His father's brows nodded in contemplation, and Malik saw him gauge the unfolding scene. He took a breath, then nodded. All right. Let us spread out and ask some folks what they know. With renewed purpose, they separated, scanning the crowd for anyone who looked like they could offer more clarity on what had happened. Malik approached a group of teens who had been standing back. Hey, did any of you see what went down? A girl with wide eyes shrugged. I just heard someone shout and then saw him fall. Malik nodded, frustration mounting. Just stay here, okay? If you see anything, tell someone. He dashed toward the older couple he spotted sitting on a bench. Excuse me, did you see what happened? Yes. The woman said, nodding earnestly. I saw him trying to catch a football, and then he just crumpled. Malik felt the tension release slightly. Do you remember anything unusual? Was there a sound or something? She frowned, shaking her head. No, just the fall. Malik thanked her and made his way back toward his father, who was now speaking to the officer again. Malik's heart pounded. What if they did find something that could help? Did you hear anything more? His father asked. They were playing catch, Malik interjected, excitement coursing through him. Maybe it was an accident, or maybe there was something else, Malik's dad said, his brow furrowing once more. And what about the people who were harder to see? The ones further back? Malik pondered aloud. As the words left his mouth, a chill ran through him. Could it be that they could find life threads of answers out of this chaos? Let us keep looking, his father said, looking around the park. We might get more pieces to this puzzle. Just then, Malik caught movement from the corner of his eye. A boy around the same age as the one on the ground stood alone near a tree, watchful, his fists clenched. What is that kid doing? Malik pointed, curiosity drawing him closer. As they approached, the boy's eyes darted away. Was he scared, or was he hiding something? Malik's heart raced again. Hey, is everything all right? The boy flinched but slowly turned to face them. I was just over there. I didn't want to get involved, he stammered, but something in his voice held Malik's attention. Wait. You saw it, didn't you? The boy hesitated, and Malik felt an urgent pull. What secrets could be uncovered, and would they bring more light to the darkness that had fallen over the park today? With every second, the intertwining patterns of their lives began to reveal the choices ahead. Would they uncover new truths, together? Or would the past continue to shadow them? As the boy stared into his eyes, Malik felt one undeniable truth sink deep into his heart: this was only the beginning. The boy's gaze shifted nervously between Malik and the ground, the tension thick in the air. I didn't want to get in trouble, he mumbled, finally taking a step back like he was ready to disappear. Malik's heart sank a little. He realized this kid wasn't just scared, he was trapped in fear. Listen, you're not going to get in trouble. We just want to understand what happened, Malik said, trying to keep his voice calm. You were there for a reason. You might know something important. Malik's dad stepped closer, his presence steady. What is your name? He asked gently. Jay, the boy replied, his voice barely a whisper. His eyes flitted back to Malik, then around the park, as if searching for an escape route. Okay, Jay, Malik urged. Just help us out a bit. Can you tell us what you saw? Jay hesitated again, and Malik felt frustration bubble up. But then he took a breath, reminding himself that fear could freeze people in place. If they were going to get answers, they needed to find a way through this. I saw him fall. We were playing. Jay started, but paused, his fingers curling tighter against his palms. But it wasn't just a fall. I saw him grab his chest, like he was in pain, before he went down. Malik and his father exchanged a glance, alarm threading through them. That detail could mean something significant. Did anyone else see that? Malik pressed. Jay shook his head slowly. I guess everyone thought it was part of the game. Or maybe they didn't care. The kids were laughing at first. Malik's stomach twisted. Kids laughing while someone else in trouble it hurt to think about. What happened next? His father gently probed, his voice soothing but firm. Jay swallowed hard. Then I started to run over, but a lot of the other kids just stood there. I didn't know what to do. I thought if I got involved, I'd get blamed or something. Malik nodded, understanding the fear of judgment. He had experienced a sliver of that himself, feeling like all eyes were on him. None of this is your fault, Jay, Malik said, feeling the urgency of the words. What matters is that you're talking to us now. He could see Jay's shoulders relax just a bit. Did you hear anyone say anything? Like, right before it happened? Malik asked, pushing for more. There was a flicker of recognition in Jay's eyes. Actually, there was this kid Darren. He was teasing him about something. Said he couldn't catch a ball. It felt weird, like he was trying to mess with him, you know? Malik's heart raced, thinking of all the layers this situation had revealed. You think it could have affected him? Made him, more stressed? Maybe, Jay replied, his voice gaining confidence. I mean, it might have pushed him too far. Malik felt the pieces connecting. Thanks, Jay. You're really helping us. The boy smiled faintly, and Malik could see a glimmer of pride in his eyes. Just then, the officer returned, and Malik felt his heart drop again. Had they crossed a line by conversing with Jay? What is going on here? The officer asked, his tone bordering on irritated. We were just Malik's dad started, but Malik blanked out the rest, his mind racing. He could sense the delicate balance shifting. Would they get in trouble for digging deeper? Yet something told Malik this was crucial. It was the truth intertwined with help. The officer's gaze was fixed on Jay. Did you see something relevant? Malik felt the urgency pulse again. Yes. Jay saw everything, and he's bravely speaking up. We need to listen, Malik said, his heart pounding, ready for the officer to dismiss them again, but instead, the officer hesitated. There was a moment where concern flickered across his face. The world around them faded momentarily, allowing that stirring feeling of connection to thrive. Malik's thoughts raced. They could be onto something here. Would this boy, despite his fear, reveal the heart of the matter? As the officer leaned in closer, Malik could feel the air shift. Something was about to happen. What would come of this conversation? The secret held in Jay's quiet tone began to ripple, like a quiet spark in a dark room. Malik couldn't shake the feeling that the light was about to break. And then Jay opened his mouth to speak again. What would he say? Would it unravel the chaos, or plunge them deeper into uncertainty? Jay took a deep breath, his small frame trembling, but the determination in his eyes was visible. The officer leaned in slightly, the tension palpable. All around them, chatter and laughter from the park blurred into an indistinct hum. I think there was more, Jay said slowly, his voice gaining strength. Before he fell, I heard Darren say that he was a loser. That he'd never be good enough. The boy's eyes darted to Malik, searching for any understanding. It wasn't just teasing. It felt mean. Like he wanted to hurt him. Malik's chest tightened. The words hung heavy in the air, igniting an anger that simmered within him. Was this the kind of cruelty that pushed someone over the edge? Was that seed of pain what led to this tragic moment? I'm sure that made him feel awful, Malik whispered, feeling a swell of empathy. He could picture the other boy's face, scrunching up with hurt, flooded with emotions that no one else seemed to notice. The officer straightened, scribbling notes. Malik could see the shift in his demeanor. The weight of J's revelation was sinking in. "So, you're saying Darren was bullying him before this happened?" "Yeah," Jay replied, his tone firmer now. "I don't think it was just a game anymore. It felt serious. Like, really serious." Malik's father stepped closer to Jay again. "You did the right thing by coming forward, Jay. This could really help everyone understand what happened." Jay nodded, seemingly buoyed by their support. But a shadow flickered across his face. I didn't want anyone to get mad at me. I didn't want to be the one who got in trouble." Malik felt an ache for the boy. He remembered feeling that way, wanting to shrink away from difficult truths to avoid the backlash. "You're not in trouble, Jay. You're being brave. That matters more right now," Malik assured him, using every ounce of sincerity he could muster. Suddenly, a phone rang, slicing through the moment. The officer glanced at his. "Excuse me," he said, stepping back to take the call. The tension surged back into the space as Malik and his dad shared a worried glance. "Do you think they'll actually listen? Will this make a difference?" Malik asked, wrestling with hope and doubt simultaneously. Jay looked down, contemplating. "I hope so. But I don't know if anyone really cares about kids like us." "That's not true," Malik insisted, feeling the stirring of yet another wave of determination. "We care. And we won't stop until everyone knows the truth." Jay peered up, tentative but hopeful. "Really? You'd do that for me?" "Absolutely," Malik declared. But as the officer hung up and returned, the atmosphere changed again. "I need to ask you both to step aside so I can speak with Jay alone for a moment," he instructed, a serious tone settling back over his face. Malik felt his pulse quicken. Was this what they had feared? Were they just going to erase J's bravery and dismiss his words? "Wait!" Malik exclaimed, instinctively stepping forward. "This is important. We need to stand together. Please, just trust me," the officer said, his tone calming but firm. J's eyes moved between Malik and the officer. There was uncertainty etched across his face, and Malik could feel the tension ballooning. "Jay, you've got this," Malik encouraged, wishing he could shield him from whatever was about to happen. As Jay nodded slowly, Malik released a shaky breath, his heart pounding with the weight of everything that was unfolding. Would the officer listen? With one last glance at Jay, he saw the boy's small sign of trust, and in that moment, Malik knew they were on the brink of something monumental. But before they could fully grasp what was at stake, a sudden commotion erupted from the soccer field nearby. Everyone turned. A girl screamed, and a crowd surged forward. "What's happening?" Malik's dad shouted, stepping away from Jay, eyes wide with alarm. The officer hurried toward the noise, leaving Malik with a chilling fear. Had that moment of truth slipped away, only to be swallowed by chaos? He felt a sinking dread in his gut, as thoughts raced about what could happen next. But the spark of determination regained its fervor. "Jay!" Malik shouted desperately. "Don't lose hope." What had they all stumbled into? And would they find their way back before it was too late? As the chaos erupted around them, Malik's heart thudded against his ribcage. The storm of uncertainty shifted into unmistakable fear. Would they lose everything they had built just as it began to bloom? It felt like all the hard-fought truths and connections were dangling above a chasm. "Stay close," Malik's father urged, turning back toward him as they began moving together toward the noise. The world around them faded, overshadowed by the fear they shared. Malik's breaths came fast as they pressed forward. Distant screams echoed with urgency and worry, but he clung to the bond he was beginning to forge with his father. He couldn't let that slip away now. They reached the soccer field, where a crowd had already gathered, pressing closer as the scene unfolded. Bright yellow shirts and white jerseys melded into a rainbow of concern. In the center stood a girl, face pale, hands trembling as she called for help. "Someone, please." Malik's heart sank further. The girl was gasping, and a boy lay on the grass, motionless. A knot twisted in Malik's stomach. Was this another child in danger? "Call 911. A voice pierced the murmur. Malik glanced at the officer, who had his hands full directing frantic parents and kids. "We need to clear the area." But Malik couldn't look away. The urgency coursing through him felt familiar, as if igniting the fire he had stoked when he faced the courtroom. He glanced at his father, whose eyes reflected a mix of worry and determination. "Dad, we can't just stand by," Malik urged, feeling the electricity of courage surge within him. "What if we can help?" His father hesitated, weighing the risk. "You're right. Let's see if anyone needs support." They approached the scene, thrusting forward, driven by a newfound sense of urgency. The boy on the ground was pale, and Malik felt the gravitational pull of responsibility tighten around them both. "What happened?" Malik asked, instinctively connecting with the girl who was clearly distressed. "He collapsed while playing," she murmured, tears spilling down her cheeks. "We thought he was joking at first." Malik's heart ached. It echoed in the realization of being kept at arm's length from hurt and laughter. There it was again, what they all needed, an urgency to act, to tell stories, to shine light in dark places. "Did he say anything important?" Malik pressed, trying to instill some confidence in the girl as he felt the panic begin to ebb away. She glanced at the fallen boy before looking back at Malik, uncertain but willing. "I think he looked tired before playing," he said, his chest hurt. "Okay," Malik's mind raced, but he felt a flicker of clarity. "Does anyone know where to find an adult or a medic?" "I'll find someone," a boy from the periphery shouted, and spurred by Malik's encouragement, ran off, leaving Malik and his father to tend to the aftermath. "Keep talking to him," Malik urged the girl, trying to keep the atmosphere calm within the bubble of fear. "We'll stay here with you." His father knelt, his hand steadying the boy's shoulder, a calm presence amidst the storm. "Stay with us, buddy. Help is on the way," he whispered, the kindness in his voice contrasting the urgency of the moment. Malik felt something shift in his chest, like a beacon lighting the way forward. Together, they surrounded the boy, silently conducting a ritual of support until help could arrive, a melding of strength and vulnerability connecting them in ways he had never imagined. As the paramedics finally rushed in, Malik caught a glimpse of the crowd parting and the wary looks from bystanders. They were on the outside looking in. But they were not. They were cycling through the fires of uncertainty into the crucible of empathy. Would it change their futures? "Let us step back and give them space," his father said gently, and they complied, but something pivotal had shifted within them both. Malik glanced at his dad, seeing the pride flicker in his eyes, recognizing a different kind of strength. They were two men, standing united not just as father and son, but as advocates for change. "I'm proud of you, son," his father murmured as they stepped away. They stood together then, a small glimmer of hope igniting behind Malik's burning resolve. If this moment, this troubled unfolding, could spark a narrative of compassion, then they would transform the future into something brighter. Later that evening, as twilight descended upon the Atlanta skyline, Malik stood outside with his mother. The sun painted the sky in hues of gold and purple, illuminating everything around them. Home felt warm as they basked in silence, each carrying a renewed sense of purpose. "Did you see how we worked together?" Malik said, arms extended as he shared the victory they had forged that day. "I did, Malik. You stood tall and made a difference." His mother's eyes glimmered with pride, every word a testament to their journey. He was no longer just a boy facing his future, he was becoming a voice for change, illuminated by the light of newer connections with his father, with his community, and within himself. And just then, as he let his dreams soar, the weight of the world seemed lighter, each kindness, each act of courage, paving a path forward. "Tomorrow we'll start a community program," Malik said, fueled by the day's events. For kids like us so they know how to support each other through tough times. His mom's eyes widened with excitement, a heartbeat of shared vision. That's brilliant, Malik. You are a true leader. He beamed, feeling whole and hopeful. Together, we can inspire people to see beyond the surface. With those words igniting bright futures, Malik finally understood. Pain could transform, resilience could lead, and together, they could nurture a legacy that rippled through their world, breaking barriers and planting seeds of hope for everyone they encountered. This was just the beginning of a journey, one where every dream could take flight. To keep fueling these incredible stories and transformations, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support and help us grow this community. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this energy alive. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. And share instantly this episode with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can make a difference.